The Moto G8 Plus is the latest budget offering from Motorola with a focus on cameras and stereo speakers. At a price of 13,999 rupees, it competes directly with the likes of the Realme 5 Pro, the Samsung Galaxy M30s, and even to some extent the Redmi Note 8 Pro. So, does the Moto G8 Plus have enough features and performance to make it a worthy alternative? Let's find out in our review. Now before we go ahead, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon so you're the first to know whenever we have a new video. The phone's polycarbonate body in the cosmic blue color trim looks nice. The back does look a bit like glass and is quite resilient to scratches and scuffs, but if you really want to be careful, you can opt to use the bundled silicone case. The phone isn't too heavy, but it is on the thicker side at 9.09mm. The textured power button has a good tactile feedback and so does the volume rocker, but the latter is placed a little too high for a comfortable reach. There is a hybrid dual SIM tray on the left, but we'd have liked to see a dedicated microSD card slot instead. The Moto G8 Plus has a headphone jack on the top and a USB Type-C port at the bottom. Motorola has used a 6.3-inch LTPS IPS display with Panda glass for scratch protection. The resolution is Full HD+, and the aspect ratio is 19:9. The panel produces vivid and punchy colors, brightness is good enough for outdoor use, and viewing angles are decently wide. The speakers on the Moto G8 Plus sounded excellent thanks to the Dolby Audio. The earpiece got just as loud as the bottom-firing speaker, which created a good stereo effect. The G8 Plus also features Moto Display, which is an ambient display mode so you can see missed notifications, the battery level, the time, etc. on the lock screen itself. The bezels around the display aren't too slim, but they aren't too intrusive either. There's a water drop notch on the top which houses the selfie camera. Now the rear cameras do protrude a little bit, creating a bit of an imbalance on an otherwise flat surface. The fingerprint sensor also has the Moto logo on it and is quite dependable in terms of its performance. You can also use Face Unlock, which works well as long as there's enough light around. The software is quite lean and is very close to stock Android. There isn't any bloatware and the default apps don't spam you with unnecessary notifications or ads, unlike some other custom Android skins. The Moto G8 Plus ships with Android 9 Pie and our unit had the September 2019 security patch. Now, with day-to-day usage, the Moto G8 Plus managed to cope quite well. We were able to multitask quite effortlessly and we didn't face any heating issues either. When playing PUBG Mobile, it did default to the low graphics preset, which didn't look very good, but at least gameplay wasn't affected too much. The phone did get a little warm when gaming, but not to an alarming extent. In a battery loop test, the Moto G8 Plus ran for 14 hours and 10 minutes, which is a good show. With normal usage, which involved playing games, using a bit of the camera, and surfing the internet, we easily sailed past a day and into the next. With the bundled turbocharger, we were able to charge the Moto G8 Plus's battery from 0 to 70% in an hour and fully in about 2 hours. The Moto G8 Plus has 3 sensors at the back, a 48-megapixel primary camera, a 16-megapixel action camera, and a 5-megapixel depth sensor. Now in daylight, the primary camera captured good-looking landscapes and close-ups. It handled HDR very well, balancing the exposure of the light and dark areas nicely. Colors were vivid but not overly boosted and details were good. Now this phone saves a 12-megapixel oversample photo by default and there's no option to shoot at the full 48-megapixel resolution. Close-up shots look good with plenty of detail, vivid colors and very good sharpness. In low light, close-ups still look decent with little to no noise. Landscape shots on the other hand had muddy details in low light and blacks in the shadow regions were crushed easily. Now night vision on the Moto G8 Plus did make a noticeable difference. Colors were punchier and bright areas were metered better, but details didn't really improve much. However, it's not foolproof and there were instances where night vision ended up making photos worse than the standard mode. The depth sensor did a good job of detecting edges around our subject and blurring the backgrounds. Now this blur effect can be adjusted before and after a shot has been taken. The action camera can only be used for shooting videos and not stills, which is a little disappointing. The phone needs to be held vertically in order to record a landscape video. We found this to be very convenient when we were moving about quickly. Videos taken with the wide-angle action camera on the Moto G8 Plus are stabilized at 1080p and 30fps, but not at 60fps. In daylight, video quality was good and the electronic stabilization worked decently well, albeit with mild jerkiness when we made sudden movements. Video quality was a lot weaker in low light though, with noticeable grain and softer details. Switching to the primary camera, you can set the resolution all the way up to 4K at 30 FPS but without any stabilization. Here, colors looked wildly exaggerated depending on the subject being shot. Videos are also electronically stabilized at 1080p 30 FPS and footage looked good with better color reproduction. In low light, the quality dropped and we did notice some focus hunting when shooting landscapes. There's a 25 megapixel selfie camera on the Moto G8 Plus, and in daytime selfies look decent with good colors and details. In low light, the image quality was generally below average. Details were weak and there was visible noise and skin tones looked a bit off. You do get a lot of shooting modes for the selfie camera such as spot color, group selfie, portrait, and even slow motion video. All things considered, the Moto G8 Plus manages to pack in a decent set of features, with its strengths being the lean Android experience, very good stereo speakers, solid battery life, a crisp display, and above average camera quality when shooting in daylight. Now, compared to the competition, which includes the Realme 5 Pro and even the Redmi Note 8 Pro, the Moto G8 Plus falls a bit short. The processor isn't the most powerful in this price range, which shows when it comes to playing heavy 3D games. Even though this isn't the best all-rounder, if stock Android, a good display, and stereo speakers are high on your priority list, then the Moto G8 Plus might just be worth your while. So thanks for watching our review, and for all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.